So I've been in the UK for about 5 years and 2 months. And this particular day I'm about to talk about was the worst day of it all. The shift actually ended with me being interrogated by 3 fully armed, strong, tall, big police officers with a camera in front of me, like the way they do it in the movies, like with a camera in front of me. Guys, it was very traumatic. I thought, this is it. What's going to happen now? Like, is my career coming to an end? That shift gives me post-traumatic stress disorder till date, honestly. And it's been a little over a year, but even thinking about it makes me teary, makes me sad, gives me goosebumps till date. I've been contemplating on whether to share it or not, but finally I have decided to share it. Although the case is not really over, I've decided to share it in today's video so that people can learn a few lessons from it. Okay, stop that. So hi guys, I apologize greatly for the noise in the background and the fact that I'm filming in this environment. I got ready to film and my light won't turn on. I had to film outside today. As you know, I work as a nurse in the UK. This will greatly benefit people that are nurses or in health sector, especially those that are in care homes or private facilities. They'll be able to relate to the whole situation more. I work as a nurse in a care home, and then usually I work as a night nurse, so I'm usually there in the night. And the problem with working as a night staff is that there's no manager, there's not loads of staff. It's usually just yourself and then care assistant in the unit. You don't have like other people there. During the day, some other members of the MDT can come in and all that, and then there are lots of workers, administrators, manager, blah blah blah, deputy, blah 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 during the day. But in the night, usually you're a lone worker. So that's what makes working as a night staff quite difficult, or as a night nurse quite difficult. Other than that, it's okay, right? So this was one of those nights. Obviously, because of the nature of the whole situation and the nature of my work, I cannot give certain details so that I don't get into more trouble. There was a day that I went for night shift, and my friend always tells me that, Nanelle, anytime you're going to work, pray. I don't do that all the time. When I remember, I pray. Sometimes when it occurs to me whilst I'm driving, I'd say a prayer, but not all the time. This particular day, I was super excited because my sister called me just a few minutes before I went to work that she had given birth, and that was her 3rd child. So I was really excited that day. My sister's child just celebrated his 1-year birthday recently. Instead of making me happy, it just brought back all those memories. I went to work, I got handover from the day staff, they handed over to me, and there was this resident of ours who was, for the sake of this video, let's call the resident Veronica. So there was this resident of ours who was on end of life. By end of life, I mean that the doctors had, assessed this resident to be somebody who is going to die anytime soon. So just giving this resident the necessary nursing care so that they can die peacefully, pain-free, and with dignity. So that's all we're doing, just caring for this resident until they pass away. And the family was even aware, so much so that we have what we call anticipatory medications or end-of-life medications, and we give it to these people. They are usually prescribed during the end of life of a resident so that they can, pass away without pain or without, all the other things, the stress and all that. Even when this was prescribed, the family members were so much aware that, in fact, I think, if I remember correctly, they were even the ones that went to get the script, the prescription from the doctor or something like that. Nurses have been administering this medication as prescribed even before I came on duty. So when I came on duty, the family was there. And what I realized is that usually in this part of the world, during the end of life of somebody, the family likes to be around, and it makes sense. They want to be around, the last hours of the life of this dear one. So the family members were around and the door was shut. We were giving them the necessary privacy, okay? And they had been coming in almost the whole week, because we all don't know the exact hour is going to happen. So they've been trying their best, or they were trying their best to be there almost all the time. This person comes in the morning, this person is there during the day, this person can stay there, till night or all that. So this particular day, I went to work, I took handover. Sorry that this story might be all over the place because it's actually all over the place, even in reality, okay? When I went to work, I took up from the day staff, and then they told me that, they had already administered some of their medications already, right? After I took handover, I asked the care staff that I was with to go and serve the family tea. We usually serve tea in the night as well. So went and offered the family tea, and then they were there. What happened that day was I was distracted by another resident, a pleasantly confused resident who wanted to go home and wanted to call the family. So I was trying to engage this resident for let's say a few minutes. So that distracted me a bit. So I even started my medication quite late. Thank God for the distraction from that resident. And you understand why later. So because of that, I started my medication late. As I was giving the medication with my trolley, my apron, everything, giving medication to the other residents, one of the family members came from the room to tell me that they think that Veronica, which is their patient, is not breathing anymore. So I quickly put the medication aside. I locked my trolley because you know that some of the residents are confused and some of them can take their medication or whatever. So you have to make sure that everything is secured. You've locked it. After I locked it, I followed, her, and then I checked the pulse. And then I realized that, okay, there's no pulse. And I realized that Veronica was a bit blue, like cyanosed, you understand? If you're a health professional, you understand. I told the family that I am so sorry, but it looks like Veronica has passed away. They knew because they came to call me. I had to give them a hug, offer support and reassurance. I'm so sorry. I'm sure she's in a good place, blah, blah, blah. And I had to tell them that although I'm a nurse and although I can see that Veronica is not breathing, Veronica has no pulse, Veronica is blue, I still am not qualified to verify the death. Okay, so in the UK, you cannot verify somebody's dead just because you think you're a nurse. You need a certification called verification of life. And you should have trained in this course to actually verify like a real death, like a proper death, before you can allow to do that in practice. Other than that, if you are in and then with care homes, there are no doctors. Like I said, it's just nurses. Even if you need your manager is not available in the night most of the time. Explain to them that although we can see that Veronica has passed away, I do not have the qualifications to verify the death. And what we usually do is we will call the out of hours. So for those who are not in the UK, we have something called out of hours GP practice. Out of hours means out of working hours. So working hours are like, let's say 8 to 5 or 9 to 5. But out of these hours, and then let's say weekends and holidays, if you need a doctor, like I said, care homes, there are no doctors. So if you need like a doctor to do something or to, you need advice from a doctor, let's say somebody's vomiting and you've given them this, yes, they're doing this, so you don't know what to do. These are we call the out of hours for advice. Let's say somebody fell, they are bleeding, you've treated the wound, you've done this, but the blood pressure is high, you don't know what to do. Because you're in a nursing home and there are no doctors, it is advised that you call out of hours and then you seek for advice. So those who are yet to come to the UK and then they'll be working in care homes, you have to know this as well. Don't think you know it all. If you have doubts, like I said, you always call the out of hours, because remember, especially if it's a night shift or it is a weekend shift or it's a holiday shift, your manager and other people are not likely to be around. So you'll not be able to go to a doctor for advice. So you have to be wise and call out of hours for advice and always document what happens. So when I called out of hours to tell them that, well, we have an end of life resident here who appears to have passed away, but I do not have the license to or the qualifications to verify the death. So we will need somebody from your end to come and verify, as they have been doing. And usually they are not happy when they have to do that, because that means they have to drive from wherever they are just to come and verify a death. So they called back to say that, to ask that, is there no nurse in the care home who has the qualification? And at the time there was none. And I said, unfortunately, there's none. So they said, okay. So remember, they were not happy that they were going to come to verify the death. And usually it's nurses who come, other nurses who have the qualification. In my whole practice, I've never seen a doctor come to verify the death before, ever since I started working 5 years in that nursing home. And trust me, I've seen so many deaths. It was never a time that a doctor came, right? So maybe they were trying to get a nurse and they could not get. So when it happened, after I finished giving the medication to the other residents, then I went to the family to tell them that usually, people can pass stools when they are passing away or whatever. So I'd like to check Veronica and then see if she passed the stool or something, and then, make her comfortable as we wait for the verification to be done. So as I got my apron together with my assistant, the care assistant I was working with, and then we went in there to change the pad, then we saw a tall white male with mask on coming in through the corridor. And this person came and says, I have been standing outside the nursing home for 10 minutes. Nobody has been. I said, oh, sorry. We don't hear the bell from here. Nobody also called to say that they are outside. My care home has other units, okay, or let me say has 2 units. And when you press the bell from outside, one other unit does not hear, and that's the unit I was in. And at that time of the night is also very busy. The staff in the other units are probably also very busy doing something. And maybe they were not aware I was awaiting somebody, blah, blah, blah. But usually when somebody comes, let's say somebody orders something in the night and then the people come, what they always do is, even if they press the bell and nobody hears, they call the line and then they'll say, oh, I'm outside, I need to give this to this person, and then we go and open the door. That is what happens. So unfortunately, this doctor was very angry because he said he had stood outside the care home and nobody had opened the gate for him. So he was very angry. I told him that, oh, we are sorry. He said, no, he's very angry. He wants to speak to the manager. I said, unfortunately, the manager is home at the moment. However, he said he wants to fill a complaint form because we were late in opening the door for him, according to him. He wants to fill a complaint form. He mentioned this particular complaint, the name of this particular, I had not heard it before at the time. So I went on our system, our computer, to see if I'll get that form for him to print out for him to fill. But I could not not get it. Before then, when he was angry like that, he asked that, where is Veronica? Then we said, Veronica is in this room. Remember, at the time, I was ready to assist the carer to change Veronica's pad. So we were just by the Veronica's door, and I had just asked Veronica's family to give me a few minutes so that I can go in and change the pad. And then this man walked towards us. So we were just all there. I was there, the care assistant was there, Veronica's family members were there, the doctor was there. So they all saw what happened. And he was so angry, he asked that, who is a family member? And then one of Veronica's family members said, she is. He asked me to leave the room. He was trying to force the door open, and then the door is stuck to the wall by magnets. And he did not even know that he just has to press something and then the door will close. So he was so angry, that's how angry he was. And I was like, oh, because you stood outside for some minutes. He was so angry, he was forcing the door open, forcing the door. So I even had to press the magnets to close it for him. That's how angry this doctor was. And he went in with there and shut the door behind them so that I could not be there. And ever since I've worked in the UK, anytime there's supposed to be a verification of death, remember I've been doing night shifts longer than I was doing day shifts. So anytime we have to verify death, it has to be done by the out of hours nurse or whatever. And anytime they come, I'm always there with them. Always, 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 always. So I see what they do to verify the death. So this time around, this man asked me to leave. So he forced the door closed with my assistance, obviously. Then he entered with the family member who went with him, and then they entered the room. I quickly went to the system to see if I can get the complaint form for him to fill, to write his grievances. And me knowing that standing outside the door is not a big deal, right? So I was actually looking for the form for him to fill. I decided to call my manager as well. And I thank God I did call the manager. So I called the manager after I couldn't even find the form. And then I told the manager that this is what happened. Veronica has passed away. We called out of hours. The person came and he's so angry because he said we did not open the door for him on time. Bear in mind, I was a black nurse. The carer I was working with was black as well. And apparently the other staff that were working in the other units who opened the door for him was black as well. So my manager was like, well, let me talk to him. At this point in time, this doctor had finished with whatever he was doing in the room with a family member. They were walking together out of the room. I had the phone and I said, Doc, you wanted to speak to my manager. My manager is on the line. And then he said, if you dare come close to me, I'm going to call the police on you. So remember, my manager was on the line, so she heard it. And I thank God for that, right? If you dare come close to me. I said, but you wanted to speak to my manager. So I just stopped. And my manager asked me to fill an incident report because of his behavior. And some of the family members also saw the way he treated me at that particular point in time. One of the family members actually came to hug me and said something to the effect, I don't remember the exact words she said. She said something to the effect, you are such a lady. I felt like she was sad for the way I was treated, and she just wanted me to feel a bit okay, right? So she came to hug me and she said those words. And at this point, I had already hung the call with my manager, and my manager had told me what to do in terms of the paperwork and maybe report his behavior as well. So after that, I went back to the family to say, well, I'd want to do what I was about to do before this doctor came in, which was change the pad. And then, or check if the pad needs change and make it comfortable. And they gave me the go ahead. Okay, so we went, and then when we even checked, if I remember very well, Veronica was on a catheter. So obviously the pad can't be wet anyway. So the pad was not even wet, and there was no poo whatsoever. Remember, this is an end-of-life patient who has not eaten for several days. We removed the catheter, although the pad did not need change. We changed it anyways, made her comfortable, and then called the family in. So the family came in, and then they were quite grateful, right? I told them that, oh, we have removed the catheter. If I remember correctly, I think there was a catheter, if I remember correctly. That was it. And then the family members told me that they have undertakers that they've already arranged with to come and take Veronica away. So they gave me the number of the undertakers that they want me to call the undertakers. So I said, okay. And then I phoned the undertakers, and then they asked me, I forgot to add this thing. Usually when they verify the death, the doctor is supposed to give you this paper to show that, oh yes, she's really dead or he's really dead, right? But this time around, he did not give me anything. And that was another reason why I was approaching him, although I was on the phone, to ask for that paper, because without that paper, the undertakers cannot come for the body, right? So he did not give me that, and he did not talk to me at all. He did not talk to me at all. In fact, he warned me that if I dared came close to him, he was going to call the police. Why? I stood outside the door for 10 minutes and nobody came to open the door for you? Or what? Or because I'm black? I did not understand. And let's say every nurse or every doctor that goes in there to verify death, let's say they take 5 minutes. This doctor was there with a family member for, let's say, 15 minutes, longer than usual. And I did not know what they were talking about. And this was unexpected death. The death was so expected that I think earlier in the week, the family members had already called a priest or something to come and pray with Veronica. After the whole thing, they went. And I just went about my normal duties. I was like, I did not understand the whole thing. Angry because what? Because you stood outside for 10 minutes. That should not make you this much angry. I did not understand. I just did not understand. So anyway, I was going about my normal duties again, making sure everything is okay. And the undertakers came. Although we did not have the form, they took Veronica away. We tidied up the room. Everything was okay. And then we made sure everybody else, all the other residents were fine. Everybody was okay. I was writing something, or then 2 policemen entered my unit after some minutes. Guys, have you seen the way the police people in the UK, they dress? It is so intimidating and so scary. Even thinking about it is making my eye teary. They came in. What? If I remember their exact words correctly, they said that the doctor came to them to say that there's a suspicious death has just occurred here, so they need to come. So a suspicious death as in I have killed somebody, right? Somebody has died suddenly in a suspicious manner, so they should come to the care home. And that the care home is very poor, blah, blah, blah. The people are not being taken care of well, something like that. I was like, what? You didn't even look at anybody else. You just went to that room without patients and you came in already angry. So they asked me, and as the 2 people were interrogating me, one other person came to join. This other person who came to join was now going through all the rooms of the other residents. My residents were asleep, comfortably sleeping. I just could not understand what had happened. This man actually went to report me to the police and now blaming me for someone's death. I reported to work around 7:45 thereabouts in the evening. As at the time this person died, and I started as a handover, you start work at 8. As at the time that Veronica passed away, maybe I was just about an hour or 45 minutes into the shift. And like I said, I usually go into everybody's room at the start of my shift just to see if everybody's okay. That day, I was distracted by that other resident who wanted to go home and was asking me to call the family. So I was late to start my medication round. So I did not even enter Veronica's room that day. So I only entered the room when the family member came to tell me that she had stopped breathing. And I thank God for that. Imagine if I had gone there to do something, that would have been a case. You understand? So that shift, I had not seen Veronica until they came to tell me she had died. And I thank God for the distraction of that other resident, because as usual, I'd have gone to all the other rooms and probably, I'm really happy I didn't even see Veronica that day. I told them what happened. They asked me, this is a resident whose death is expected. This person has been on anticipatory medication for how many days now? So they were asking of the note. I said, this person has not even been eating for several days now. And we've been asked to stop all his medication, stop all foods. And the GP is aware, everything. So I read the notes, and then they told me that no, I had to start afresh because they now have to put their camera on. It was that bad, guys. It was that bad. And I was just there and just answering the questions, reading the medical notes, answering questions. I'm like, this is new to me. And I was scared that I'll say something that can be used against me because this has not happened before. Like, what is happening? So let me call my manager. And then this person says, no, you don't worry, just talk. You can call your manager later. I kept talking. I said, can I just call my manager? And then eventually they allowed me to talk to my manager. So I called my manager. My manager was like, have you even told them his behavior when he came in? Then I said, no, I haven't. I've not even gotten the chance to talk about that part. I told my manager, okay, I'll talk about all that part. And then I did. After I hung up, and then I told them everything, from the beginning. But you know what shocked me? When I was telling my part of the story, and I said, so I was giving my medication, and the family member came to call me to say that, and Veronica was not breathing. The police officer was like, what? So you were not there when she died? The officer was shocked that I was not there. He said, so you were not the last person to see him alive? I was like, no, I had not even seen him the whole shit. This person has been with family for several days. I was just there. Really? So only God knows exactly the details he gave them. And luckily, I had not even seen this person that shift. At this point, the police had also realized that the care home was very clean. My unit was so clean because they went round. Everybody was neatly tucked in bed, and they came to say that they have called the doctor to come back to the care home, but he's refusing to come. They could see that they did not verbally say it, but I could sense that they were also thinking racial, because I told them how he treated me. I'm a nurse. Even if you suspect death, treat me as a fellow health colleague. Talk to me and tell me that, I think there's something wrong here that we have to investigate. You did not communicate to me, and when I was getting close to you, you dared me that if I came close to you, call the police. Who does that? And this is expected. And the reason why I know that this person did it intentionally is because all the GPs have the information of the patients. All of them, they have the information of the patients, even if they are out of hours. When they check their system, they can see everything that the person's doctor has written over the past days. So this person did really know that this person's death was not sudden. This person has been sick. This is an 80+ year old, right? Who has been sick, who the doctor knows that is going to to die, the family are aware, they call a priest. Why then would you make it look like I have killed somebody or I have murdered somebody and call the police on me? And for me to be treated with such intimidation, like the police were nice, honestly. I know they were just doing their job, you know, but the way they'll look at you, the way they'll ask questions, and then, you know, you feel so stupid, you feel so intimidated, and these are big people with guns and, you know, the whole thing, and you got camera. After that, the one police officer who, if I remember that day, they told me that he was the one in charge. He told me that for him, he has no suspicions from his end. And I just thank God. I was like, at least he's wise. He's seeing that. Because one, I think it was because we're calling the doctor to come back and he did not want to come back. You understand? And apparently, by law, he was not supposed to leave. That's what I heard later. That if you think it's suspicious, you were not supposed to leave. You're supposed to wait till the police comes. But he left. Just like, my black skin disgusted him. But they said that still, because this person had made a formal complaint to them, it has to go to the coroners for the coroner to do a postmortem or whatever to verify if the death was sudden or it was expected. So now they said that nobody should go to that room. They said that place is now like a crime scene. Nobody to go to that room to touch anything or to do anything. I said okay. And they gave me the case reference number or something so that I can hand over to my manager. When it happened, I did not cry. I was in shock. I did not cry. Do you know when I cried? The next morning when I was handing over to the day staff, and one white girl who's a nurse in our care home, she's one of the white people that are so real, like she's local, but she's so real. Before I even said what I was thinking, that it was racial, she asked me, was this a white male, older, blah, blah, blah. She said, no, I'm sorry, but this is racial discrimination. The other unit as well, when they heard it, the nurse there also said the same thing. And there was a new nurse who was supposed to start work that day. Because of that incident, the nurse never came back again because hey, if this is what people are dealing with, I don't want to be part of you guys. Like, the nurse never came back again. And that was me. And it was funny, but one nurse told me that, and I was like, thank God it was you. And this nurse was not even saying it in a negative way. Like, this nurse was saying that, I thank God it was you because for you are strong. If it had happened to me, what would I have done? Like, it would have broken me. And I'm not strong. I'm not strong at all. This person does not even know. I just appear like I'm strong, but I'm not strong. It broke me. See, I have a child, I have a husband, and look at this. And the sad part is when I called RCN, I told RCN every single thing that happened. Unfortunately, the therapy session that they booked for me was like a month after. When I needed it that day, the therapy was a month after. When I wanted to take the doctor on as well, they were not like willing to help me take the doctor on. If somebody has treated me this unfairly, and people are like, no, I was so disappointed, honestly. I wanted to do it privately as well. So later on, I called the out of hours office again. I said, can I have the name of the doctor who just came to this particular nursing home to verify a death because I want to make a formal complaint? They told me they cannot give me the name. So I should go on the website of the trust and fill a whatever form. I went there, the form I was looking for, I could not, I just stopped. I wrote my statements, I wrote my notes, blah, blah, blah. Later on, I was told by my manager that this doctor went to say that I was chatting with other people or something. This was a time that you came to meet me at the door with my apron about to change Veronica's pad. Where was I chatting? The family members were there when you came. That day, normally nurses don't like it when cameras are at their workplaces, but that day, I wish there was a camera so that they were to see how much of a liar that doctor is. My manager was quite supportive. And another thing is, I called her, so she heard that part where the doctor was saying, if you come close to me, I'll call the police or something. She heard that part. So she also said the way he talked to you was very bad. And she acknowledged that. How can you talk to me like that? You're meeting me for the very first day. I've done nothing. My only sin or my only crime is that you stood outside for 10 minutes and I didn't hear you ring the bell. And now you're saying I've killed somebody. And this case could have easily gone south. So now they sent it to the coroner. I'm just praying to God that, God, just do your best. You understand? Then Veronica's doctor is saying that this is expected. They don't know why this person is pulling this like that. And the coroner also said that it was expected, like it was not a sudden suspicious death. There was nothing suspicious about the whole thing. I said, thank God. So after the whole issue, then I phoned this law company that I want to take the doctor on. It's not fair. I told RCN, they gave me somebody to manage my case. I told the person, but nobody really actually gave me the push. Nobody actually supported me on that course. And now the case is left hanging after this inhumane treatment. Because if as a doctor, you lie on someone and now the truth comes out that it was a natural death, why should they let him go scot-free? He's going to do it to somebody else. And I bet you the way that doctor treated me, I'm very sure this is not his first time he's mistreated a black person. I'm very sure that if you were to go further into his history, we'll probably find other complaints about him. I'm very, very sure of that. Because the way he treated, it was definitely not his first time. What are the lessons of this story? If you're a Christian, please pray to God before you go. Even if you're a Muslim, pray to Allah. Whatever you think you believe in, commit yourself before you go into any shit. This incident could have gone south. Imagine if this was not an older person. And imagine if the coroner had actually found something. Although I was innocent, the coroner had found something. What would have happened to me? This would have been such a long battle, probably taken to court and other places. This our work is tedious and this our work can be stressful. stressful and frustrating. So I'm telling you guys, pray, okay, when you're going to work. And then the second thing is that whenever you go into any department or any working environment, and there's some courses that you can take that would, help you do some things on your own, take them. Like, I've been there for 5 years, and I knew there was a course called Verification of Life Extent that I should have taken, so that anytime there's a death, I can easily verify it without necessarily going to call somebody. And I did not take that course, and now I had to rely on somebody, and this happened. If there's a course that you have to take, please do take it. Depending on the kind of like environment that you are in, maybe you're in ICU, there's certain course that you have to take so you can do certain things on your own. Please do take it, and when you take it seriously and understand it well, so you can do certain things without bringing people in. Sometimes the more people we bring into our work, the more complicated it is, honestly. That's number 2. And the third thing is that sometimes when you go on shift and it's only immigrants or it's only black people, don't be jumping up and down excited. Don't do that. When you go to work and there's a white person, be happy. Even if that white person is not your friend, be happy. What I always cast my mind back is that if there's a white person who also knows that you can't talk to me like that, they will not do that. Some people look so down upon us, right? They look so down upon us because of where we are from, because of the color of our skin, and they don't care how they treat us. However, if there's another person there, they will not do what they would have done if we were alone. I remember there's this particular social worker, or let's say another member of the MDT, right? Anytime the nurses call, she'll be very arrogant and very cheeky and all that. All the nurses that were calling her were foreigners. If it's not a Filipino, it's a black. There was one time there was a white lady, a local from here. She told her mind. She said, I'm sorry, we were happy, we were clapping. Because the rest of us, we are so fearful, and sometimes we can be quite timid because, hey, if this happens and it goes to NMC, we'll have to go back home, and there are no jobs back home. If it happens and I have to go home, I'll lose all these benefits of living in the UK. Oh, we live in fear and in intimidation, and it's like we are bullied in a way. Usually we are so scared, even if we know we are right, we are so scared to act. And you can be here for so long and it still happens. And sometimes when you go on duty and you see a white person on, thank your stars, because some things cannot happen in their presence. I remember there was a time that one other nurse, a resident, passed a racially discriminate, like a racial comment to this nurse who was black from Zimbabwe, and another white carer, not even a nurse, carer, put that resident in his place. Said, how dare you say that? You're not supposed to say that. You're wrong, blah blah blah. She put him in his place. You, as a black girl, if you had stood up yourself and spoken back, this resident can now go and say you said this, and it can be used against you. Sometimes they might not even look at what he did. They'll just look at your response to that. But this time around, it was a white nurse who was just a witness and fought. It was a white carer and fought for the blackness. Those are my lessons. If there are courses you have to do, just do it. Commit every shift into God's hand. And sometimes make friends with these local people and be happy when they're on duty with you. Go close to them and ask their opinions and other things. They've been here longer, they know the system longer, and they understand some things better. Recently, they called me again to come and write a statement about this. I had even forgotten some of the details. Is it worth fighting over it and trying to put this man in trouble? Or should I just pray to God to punish him? What do I do? If you were me, what would you have done? I just thought I should share, guys. Yeah. Thank you for watching.